official website during the first quarter of the league's fiscal year than any other player's jersey, beating quarterbacks Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, and Peyton Manning. As Stephen A. would say, this kid is box office. So does this add more pressure on the Browns to make Johnny Manziel a starter? That is the question. Skip Bayless.
It better, because it should. And I will be the first to admit, Stephen A., up front, maybe I'm not objective about this because clearly I was on the record before the draft. The Houston Texans, with the first overall pick in the draft, will forever regret the day that they passed on Johnny Manziel. I don't have a lot of use for the Cleveland Browns right now because they passed him twice in the draft, as you know, at number 4 and then again at number 8 when they took Justin Gilbert.
Yep.
And part of the front office, 2 or 3 key members of the front office, were against drafting Johnny Manziel when they moved up to get him from 23 to 22. So they lucked into a kid who I think will be the greatest thing that ever happened since their championship in 1964 to the Cleveland Browns. And obviously, Browns Nation is on fire for Johnny Manziel. See jersey sales. It's very possible that a whole lot of fans outside Browns Nation on fire to see Johnny Manziel play football. Look, I respect Brian Hoyer. I thought he played really well last year. We're going to talk about Ron Jaworski's quarterback rankings here in just a little bit. But he's got Brian Hoyer at 26, which is actually pretty high for a guy with that little resume. But he goes on and on about how big a fan he is of Brian Hoyer, who's a fine player. And he will give Johnny all he wants in competition in camp. But you have to close your eyes and give the reins to the greatest playmaker I've ever seen in college football. In all my years, you have to hand him the keys to the franchise and hope he doesn't wreck it, that he, as he quoted, I'm quoting his text, that he wrecks the league instead of wrecks the car that is the franchise. And I believe he will wreck the league, and it should start sooner than later. And I think those jersey sales will show you just what the groundswell of support for another lightning rod. We just talked about what Michael Vick was, but the lightning rod that will be Johnny Manziel for the Cleveland Browns.
Does this add more pressure on the Cleveland Browns? I think that is ridiculous. There's no pressure on the Cleveland Browns, as far as I'm concerned, to play Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is a former Heisman Trophy winner. He was a finalist second go-round. The fact of the matter is that I don't give a damn what you did in college. There's plenty of college dudes that didn't succeed on the pro level. A Charlie Ward won a Heisman Trophy. He had to go to the NBA to play. A Tommy Frazier.
I think he wanted to go to the NBA.
That's right. All right, that's fine, because they didn't treat him right when it came to what they were, literally labeling him as when he was coming out of college football. Tommy Frazier never won the Heisman Trophy, but we know what a career he had at Nebraska, and, what was he going to do? There's plenty of guys that succeeded on a high level, on a college level.
So what are you saying about Johnny? You think he'll be a bust?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is this is a new day. It's a new job description. It's new challenges. You got to go out there and prove yourself. That boy ain't playing for free. He's getting a paycheck. Now go out there and earn it. And if you're better than Brian Hoyer, you'll get the job. And if you're not, you won't. It's just that simple. I don't care about no daggone jersey sales. Who cares? You care about the popularity? Let me tell you something right now. That don't mean a hill of beans. Don't amount to a hill of beans. So what you want to see him? Okay, we saw how that reclamation project turned out in the past, and it will go unmentioned when people were sitting there in public relations, got the guy that's starting quarterback's job. Okay, we've seen that before.
We don't want to
stop talking about it. He's his friend. He's your friend from up front. They're good friends. He's your friend.
He's my good friend.
You cannot give it up.
He's my good friend.
I give it a rest. You can't.
He's my good friend. But it's the truth. And so all I'm saying to you is this. This is the National Football League. You sometimes label it those 3 letters, not for long, whatever the case may be. If Brian Hoyer is not a superior quarterback to Johnny Football, he won't have the job. If he is, he'll keep the job. This man, who you have acknowledged can play the game of football, does not deserve to lose his job to Johnny Football because of some popularity contest. You have to go there and earn it. So, Johnny, if you got the time, listen, I have not knocked Johnny Football because I think some of it is overblown, even though I would like to see his face in the playbook a little bit more, et cetera, et cetera. I don't need him in Vegas. I get that. But at the same time,
he read the playbook all the way home on the plane.
Listen, and he's astute enough to comprehend it. But here's the deal. If Johnny Football got time for Vegas, and he got time to hang with Floyd Mayweather and Tyrese and the crew,
Bieber.
And Justin Bieber, well, it actually makes sense for them. They're not too far, only 1 year apart. You know, Floyd at 37 and Tyrese 35, being with a 21-year-old fellas. I don't know about that. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is this: having said all of that, in the end, what it comes down to is Johnny Football got to go out there and play. It's just that simple.
Well, he will if you give him the chance.
Listen.
He needs the chance.
And by the way, let me say this. Justin Bieber has established himself. Even though he comes across a little bit wild, he's established himself, and we know what he's succeeded. Tyrese, actor, singer, the boy's big time. Floyd Mayweather, the best pound-for-pound champion on the planet.
Well, that's debatable.
They've done
the best.
All I'm saying is
this. That's not the time.
They've done what they've done. Johnny Football has to do what he's supposed to do. He did it on a college level.
He did.
Nobody handed any of those dudes anything. Nobody's handed Johnny Football anything. Go out there and get it done.
I do not trust Browns management. I don't trust the coaching staff. My fear is that the jersey sales will create new resentment among management that will make it even harder on Johnny to get his first chance to play. So I'm on the record with this. The Browns management is getting a pass for their draft, and I want to make this very clear, and I'm not going to give this a rest. But remember, they traded back out of number 4. Are we hearing all about Sammy Watkins now? They could have had Sammy Watkins. Is Josh Gordon not in some big trouble right now?
Sure.
They could have had Khalil Mack. They could have had Mike Evans. And they took Justin Gilbert. Justin Gilbert's the luckiest man in America right now because nobody's talking about how they reach for Justin Gilbert because all the spotlight is on the number 22 pick.
I totally agree with you, but let's not put the spotlight on the Browns because you upset they ain't playing Johnny Football. Let's keep the spotlight on the Browns because it deserves to be on the Browns as a collective unit, as an organization that hasn't won more than 5 games in the last 6 seasons. Let's keep it on them because of that. Let's not keep it on them because you think that Johnny Football should be playing, because you know how you are when you get fixated on a particular player. And I ain't going to let you do it with Johnny Football.
Oh, wait, you mean I made a mistake the first time around?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, I was only right.
Nobody said.
Oh, thank you.
Time. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking. Nobody said. Nobody said anything about the performance. I said you know how you are about falling in love.
From what?
I said you know how you are about falling in love with a particular player. That's what I said.
I fell in love before anybody saw it coming.
There's plenty of guys in the NFL that could play. You don't fall in love with them. You get fixated on one particular player. And right now it's Johnny, and I ain't gonna let you do it.
You're talking about RG3, obviously, right?
Actually, I wasn't thinking of
I know.
I forgot about it.
I know. We forgot about
RG3. Forgot about it.
You mentioned the fact that Johnny Manziel proved himself on the collegiate level. Let's move to the NCAA. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesley had some interesting comments Monday